computer?
I have. It's just been a while since we've been live. I've been at Traffic and Conversion.
I know. One of my buddies was the MC.
What was his name?
Casey Eberhardt.
Yeah, I remember him. They had to bring in a few more MCs. It was a little bigger.
That's good.
I wish you would have told me. I would have gone up and said hi.
Well, I didn't realize it until he announced that he was the MC.
Oh.
I could have sent you a message, but he sent it. I saw it the day that it all started.
Oh, okay.
He said, honored to be, one of those honored to be the MC posts.
No, he always did a great job. It's not his first year doing it either. So
no, he's a good dude.
He's been doing it for a while. How have you been?
Good. Busy. Working on stuff. Doing things.
The internet was so bad I couldn't even really work.
Yeah, that's no fun.
It was
that has to be something when you're in a location with 2 gazillion digital marketers and no internet.
We pretty much break the hotel. I went to go order room service the last night, and they were like, "We have no croissants, we have no ham, and we have no cheese." And I want a ham and cheese croissant. I was like, "Oh my gosh," which is better than last year. Last year they ran out of toilet paper.
That's not good. That's never good.
No, I think Clarion Events, they bought majority ownership of Traffic and Conversion, and they are cutting a $400,000 check to Marriott Hotels to skip out of the contract next year.
Wow.
Move it to a convention center, and I'm hoping bring some bigger, better internet.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Since we didn't do this week, I don't really have a funnel set up, but I thought something that would be fairly more important, and we'll do some sales absolutely tomorrow. I'm sure you're ready, right?
Sure.
Sure. Dean, and I don't even positively know how to say his last name, Graziosi?
Graziosi. There
we go. That poor man had 6 sessions in 3 days. But his last talk I thought was really critical, and one of the things that I see people struggling with in our own membership and with our own business owners, and he had the 7 must to start and scale your business to 100 million or to 1 billion or 1 million or wherever it is your next one is. And what I liked about them was they were so foundational.
That's good.
They packed the room.
Yeah.
And I think everybody was waiting for tactics or something.
Yeah.
And he brought foundational pieces that anchor you, the person, so that you can build those.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because a lot of what you say was anchored in there. A lot of what David Roberts says anchored in there. Just a lot of the things that we're constantly telling our members was anchored in these 7 statements. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, it kind of goes back to, and I think I've said it before when we've been doing some of the training segments, is we were backstage with Zig one time, and somebody said, "Zig, every city we go to, we notice your talk is exactly the same. Everybody else seems to try to freshen it or apply it or do all sorts of different things to it. Why don't you change yours?" And he said 2 simple reasons. Number 1, the people in this town have never heard this talk. And the second thing is, I teach truth, and truth never changes. And that's that becomes the point and I know we go over and over and over. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. And the reason we go over and over and over with it is because people do business with those they know, like, and trust. I mean, it's foundational. It has to be. So I look forward to hearing what these are. That's awesome.
So, number 1, protecting your health, your confidence, and your state.
And what health is that?
Your entire health. So think about it. Like if you have no health, you have no business. You're not there for your family. I mean, health, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health. The big one that also caught me was the confidence and like your state of being. So ensuring that you delete all the angst in your life. Like if it doesn't make you happy, ditch it. Like one of the things, like something that he thought was personal to him was voicemail stressed him out. So his message for people when they're leaving a voicemail was, I'm not going to answer, I'm not going to listen to your voicemail, so don't bother leaving one.
Yeah.
Just be gone. So for mine, one of his that I have done as well, he hasn't read the news in 11 years. Mine's been 2 years. Every time I dip into it. But have you ever read the news and been happy afterwards?
No, and I totally agree with that. I mean, these are the things I actually did a talk while you were gone to a group, the 7 steps of leadership legacy. But again, this stuff it's foundational. So I agree, and totally the confidence you got to have. You know, Dr. Jim Parker said you have to have faith, confidence, and belief in your products, services, and ideas. Success is predetermined by your faith, confidence, belief in your product, services, and idea. So, I mean, that's good.
One of the things he said is we do much better when we play on offense. Like when we go out, we define the situation, we're creating the circumstances. But when you're on Facebook, when you're reading the news, when the first thing you do in the morning is look at your phone and check your email, you all of a sudden are playing defense. You're now reacting the world. And the one that really caught me and that kind of goes into that was protecting your confidence like crazy. Because when you're confident, great things happen. Like if you're closing a multi-million-dollar deal, probably because you were confident. Like how many deals have you closed when you were at like 10% confidence?
No, you just don't. And I mean, it's fascinating to see that and think that. It's actually one of the things that Sean and I did while you were gone, because we just started talking because we had time to chat about stuff, right? And we just said, let's just do this. Let's go do some things. And what the funniest part is, as we started putting it out, people started responding to it like, oh, we want to be there. We want to do this. We want to, it's like, and so it really is, it doesn't have to be, a couple thousand people to have an impact. No, I mean, that's nice, but no, go do something.
Here's one that this is where I felt like it was you in the room up on stage right there with Dean Graziosi. What do you always say? No one benefits when you play small.
It's right there.
Right there. So he said, you play small when you have no confidence.
It's true.
So maybe nobody wins when you play small, but if you have no confidence, you can't play big.
No, that's true. That's why you've got to know your capabilities and different things. It's interesting. This has happened a couple times over the last couple of weeks. It goes back to even when I was sharing the story after my stroke. 30 days later, I'm sharing that I had a pretty significant cerebellum stroke, and somebody came up to me and said, "People that have had what you've had don't come out like you." And my statement was, "Oh, well, this is the only way I've experienced this." So, I mean, I guess it's good to hear, right?
Right.
But I know no different. Well, I think that and that's actually, and again, because we've got to catch up, it's something that happened in a couple of presentations I've done over the last couple of weeks. But all of a sudden somebody said, "Oh my God, nobody teaches what you just taught." And I go, "Well, I do." And then all of a sudden I went, "Well, I probably should because I created it." But again, when it's what you do, it just is what you do. You don't think of it until, right?
Yep, Sean says that rings a bell. It does. Man,
yeah.
when he said that.
Yep. Great. No,
man,
great point.
That was just like taking that dagger right and just going.
Yep.
But then when people say things like this, my first thing is always like, well, yeah, it's certainly easy to say, but how? So he actually did that. One of the things he said is have a ritual for confidence. And one of the easiest ways to do that is right in the morning, starting fresh. And I won't even get in live right here. They had Sir Richard Branson, and I was at his talk, and he was going to give his morning routine. And let's just say that's when I got angry, stood up, and walked the hell out of the room. But Dean Graziosi, he had a great one, to be a machine in the morning. So unfortunately, and I cannot remember the stat, but it's like over 50%. Ritual number 1 in the morning, when you first open your eyes, and generally in the morning, ignore your phone. Do not look at your phone first thing in the morning. Don't check your messages, not your email, not your voicemail, none of it. Because the chances of it warming your heart and getting you motivated are pretty much near zilch. And I think it's like 60% or something of the number of people who sleep with their phone right by their bed, and it is the first thing they do when they open their eyes is like pick up their phone and look at it. And even if you're doing it with time, your notifications are still there.
Totally agree on that. I mean, it's interesting. I've set another rule that I actually shut off my phone at 6:30.
Yeah, we've talked about that one. And I think, I get more done. Like, I've got ADD through the roof. Sometimes you need your phone. I've got to pick up and I make phone calls. But like Sean's chiming in, ritual number 1, ignore the phone.
Like it. Keep going. Preach it, girl.
I know. Here we go. This one, I think this whole section was just kind of you. Next thing, think of something you're grateful for. And it can be stupid and small. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be something as simple that you're alive, you're not sick with the cold. It could be, because if you ask somebody to write down all the things they're thankful for and you try to do one of those grateful journals, you might stop at 20 or, 10 of them are your kids. And it could just be your kids, but just, you're talking about 2 seconds, the mental energy not to look at your phone.
Yeah.
And you spend the next 5 seconds. So we're talking seconds. So no one can say you don't have time for this. Think of something you're grateful for.
Yep.
So easy. Bring that happiness in. And I followed up, and I think this one kind of ties into that one a little bit. Think of 3 wins that you had the previous day, personal and business. Closed a deal, got a phone call, made it to your kids' soccer match, they scored a goal, looked at you, were super happy. 3 wins that were wins to you.
Like it.
Second one, 3 wins that you would like to accomplish today. I feel like you can get those first 3 right there in the first 60 seconds.
Right.
I think you can get these 3 wins for the day while you're brushing your teeth. Getting rid of the dragon breath.
That's, that's making it sound like the dragon's breath is, not pleasant. Stop being judgmental.
When my kids hit that age, man, and they breathe on you first thing in the morning, you're like, that is not how I wanted to wake up this morning. Then the other one was going to be something physical. So he exercises every morning at 5:30 in the morning. One of the things he mentioned was somebody told him, if you do yoga 3 days a week, it'll change your body. If you do it every day, it'll change your life. I thought that was kind of interesting. It doesn't matter the exercise, though, but again, staying away from your phone. If you think you're somehow going to be on the treadmill or you're just going to check one message, you're actually going to dive down into the phone. But it has to be something physical. It doesn't matter weightlifting, running, yoga, just something you've got to get your body moving. And this is where I thought of Rayanne. I actually messaged her midway through the session. He said the issues are in the tissues. Look how rhymey that is.
Yeah.
I was like, Ray, that's your thing now. Your issues are in your tissues. But getting those body, that all your skin moving, that blood flowing and the oxygen coming in. And he had a few little more that, are more, those were the solid ones. Those were the likes, do those. He also has like the green drink with the MCT oil and something else. He was talking really fast. I couldn't get everything in the drink. But it's those little pieces that are intentionally deleting the angst from your morning and your life. So, I mean, I've even gone so far, I cut my mom out. I don't talk to my mom, and I haven't since she pushed me when I was 5 months pregnant with my second kid.
Yep.
Didn't bring happiness.
No, I get it. Well, and I think that's the, and I've shared with you and shared with the folks that watch this, the middle of December, I made the decision, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't bring me joy. And you go, that's so simplistic. It is. But it took a whole lot of years to figure it out. And so I'm not chasing anybody to, it's so crazy. It's like, I'm not chasing anybody to do business with them. Not that I'm not nurturing relationships and doing whatever, but okay, enough's enough. At some point it gets kind of silly and ridiculous. You sit there and you do everything you possibly can. And anyway, you start to realize, I'm going to do the things that I really love to do.
And drop the ones you don't.
Yeah. And I'm having far more fun.
And I love the confidence one. I think he probably stabbed the entire audience with that one. Number 2.
Yes, big number 2.
It's all David. Crystal clear vision and clarity. That we tend to all focus on the things we don't want, but we don't get clear on what we want. And one of the things, and I've heard it before, and I can't remember who he said, kind of like originally said it, was kind of not like Youre, but the person who, that was his thing. If it was 1 year from now and it was the best year of your life, what would that look like? So I know David Roberts, his is if anything were possible, what kind of future could you imagine? This one narrows it down to 1 year. If everything went perfect, what would that look like?
Yep.
And then the other one he mentioned was you can't, in that vision and clarity, things are going to happen. Shit's going to happen, right? It's just inevitable. And he called that your success tax. What if all the terrible stuff, what if all the roadblocks are life's way of asking, are you deserving of the great success? And every bit in there, every little hardship, it's in there and it's taxing you for your success. And that is just the price of gas for moving forward.
Yeah.
One of the other comments there was saying yes got you out of Egypt.
It didn't get you into the promised land.
Saying no got you to the promised land. And I think it's important to say yes a lot. I do. But a vision will help you say yes to the right stuff.
Yeah.
So you can focus.
Well, I mean, I think it's very intriguing because, like I said, Sean and I have had a lot of conversations about this this week, and we'll have to catch you up because they're because you're involved. But but it's very intriguing when you can say yes to a lot of different things. But boy, it's got to be the right stuff. It's got to be things that it really is. It's funny. I got a new mantra every morning now, and that is, I'm in full alignment and agreement with my higher self. I mean,
sometimes it's I think that too. it's not even just about alignment. You've got to know it first. I feel like too many people don't even know it to even be able to get into alignment.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Sean's doing a great job of taking notes right now. So
I know, and they're all in the
awesome.
comments for everyone to see. But you know what? I'm recording this here. We're going to get it up on YouTube. I took outstanding notes from the session.
No, it's great. Keep going. Keep going.
Instead of keeping them in Evernote, though, this year, I'm publishing all my notes on one of the 3 blog posts or blog sites. So these will be made available if you use hashtag Jenna's Notes. That was, vision and clarity. And loving the next one because this one's my alley. You've got to have marketing stamina. Marketing stamina. You have to be obsessed with marketing and stamina. And one of the things that he was talking about is, so when you hit, one of the things that happens when you hit that first million is you get a little lazy. And you will also get distracted. You're going to be so focused on how do I get to the next, 10 million, 100 million. You're going to be trying all these new things, and you're going to forget what got you to $1 million. What got you to $1 million was marketing and sales. Marketing and sales.
Yep.
That's it. Look who we have on. Marketing and sales.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. It's funny.
Mindset, we've already kind of covered that, so we got Sean there too. You literally have the trifecta right here.
Well, that's the point. Is you sit and we used to do this all the time in the corporate side, right? Engineering would produce this most amazing product. It could suck the tops off of pots. It could do more stuff than nobody wanted or nobody needed. But I mean, it was engineered like, woo, it was amazing, but it was totally unsaleable.
It has to be completely obsessive for every member in your company.
Yeah.
The guy in admin, the chick doing your accounting, every single one of them needs to know the sales messages, needs to know the marketing messages, needs to be crystal clear on what is sold, how it is marketed, who it helps, so that they are walking, talking billboards everywhere they go. It needs to be obsessive and built into the culture of the company.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. I mean, what you said about the products and the engineers building things, work backwards before you go into it. So when he was saying that they were talking about a new product and they were like, let's go build it, he was like, stop, how are we going to sell it?
Right. Well, that's kind of part of these conversations this week of really recognizing where the need is and what people, because of some of these statements, oh my God, you're teaching something I've never heard somebody teach. And it's like, whoa, wouldn't that be a positive if we talk to some people and see if they needed that, And so that's kind of what's going on. Very cool.
Yep. Compartmentalize your marketing, focus on one at a time. So that's like what we tell people with social media. Pick one, get really outstanding at it, be really engaged on it, really grow an audience on it, and then move to another platform. Get really good at your webinars, get really good at your landing pages, and then move on to the next step, right?
Yep.
The other one, remember planes fly. So if your marketing's not working, it's not that Facebook ads don't work. It's either how you did them didn't work, your message didn't work, your landing page didn't work. Like literally people will do Facebook ads to landing pages with buttons that don't even work. So always remember that the things work. Those are proven concepts.
Right.
The plane still flies. If your plane didn't fly, it's not that it's a giant hunk of metal and it's impossible for it to get off the ground. It's maybe you forgot to add wings. Let's see. And just overall, like have that marketing stamina. Number 4.
Yes.
I kind of mentioned it already. You've got to pay the success tax. There's just no way around it. You're gonna have to grind it out. Every single person who is successful ends up talking about how they've had to pay the success tax. Everyone's got that little story. I kind of mentioned this already, but there's certain things you cannot do at the next level without having the experience of those failures. Michael Jordan once threw up a layup and it missed, probably over 10,000 times.
Yeah.
You're not going to get your layups up, and I don't know what the normal averages are because now I'm out of my depth. You're not going to get them 100% of the time if you didn't miss a whole lot of them first.
Right. Yeah, like you got to swing, no doubt.
You know, think about the rock star. Like, what do people think when they say a musician? Like, hey, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'm going to be a musician. And that's cute when you're 5. When you're 18, it becomes slightly like, mom's like panicking. Dad's like, I thought we were going to be a doctor. Discuss this. But that rock star that you see on the stage, he played at least 100 dive bars, some of them for free, before he ever made it to Madison Garden.
Become a 10-year overnight sensation.
10-year overnight sensation. You know, I even thought about that. I remember being in high school and even in college, and I was so frustrated looking at all the kids, and they're going to the parties and they're having this great time and doing all these different things that I'm not doing, because what am I doing? I'm in my books. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't study that much, or, you know, that came easy. I'm on the tennis court practicing. I'm making dinner, cleaning the kitchen, doing all the other things. That adds up. Got to pay the success tax one way or the other.
Yep.
This will go back a little bit more to David. I know he asked it. I've asked it too over and over again. You have to know your ultimate driving force. You have to know your why.
Is this another total point?
Yeah, this is number 5. I would put it up there, but the Be Live is not working for me to toss it up. So if Sean G. Murray wants to say your ultimate driving force and your why, I'll toss it up. So yeah, number 5 is you have to know your why. You have to know why you want it. Motivation is bullshit. It's just garbage. Like, it's only going to take you so far. Like, I got so pumped at traffic and conversion. It can be so motivating. I get off the plane and it's gone. Yep. It is that, it's just sand. It's not a foundation. But when you know your why, that goes deep. And, you know, the easiest way to get there is, and we did this in Intel, and I'm terrible at this. I almost feel like an interrogator when I'm talking to people when they get into this. Why do you want it? Well, I want to make a lot of money.
Why do you want a lot of money?
I want to travel more. That's cool. Why do you want to travel more? Because I don't get to do it. Why don't you get to do it? Because I work this 9 to 5 and I don't get any PTO days. Okay. Why do you work the 9 to 5? So I got to pay my mortgage. Why do you pay your mortgage? I've got kids, man. And they're like, man, I just want them to grow up better than I did. You know, we grew up really poor and I've never been on a plane before. And all of a sudden, like, if you're not crying, you're not doing this one right.
Yep. No, there's not a doubt about that. You know, motivation is an outside inactivity. It only lasts as long as the motivator is there. It's whatever that motivation is that's coming in, that's creating it. Whereas inspiration is an inside-out activity. It's what inspires you. What are you enthusiastic about? Enthusiasm comes from the word entheos, of God's Spirit. What's going to drive you when something else doesn't drive you? What inspires you? And I think that this is the, yes, as Sean put, Jim Rohn said, if you motivate an idiot, you have a motivated idiot. But that's
actually, really, I think that was a quote in his talk.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a quote, a Jim Rohn quote that a lot of people use, but it's really true. The point is, you have to, what keeps you fighting through? We're all going to come up against stuff. That is not the question. It's what you're going to do when you come up against stuff. And that's kind of, and again, it's maybe oversimplistic, but it's like, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't bring me joy. So, you know, I mean, I've got friends that I've done a lot of different things for that start jacking you around and also just go, yeah, no, I'm done with that. Well, you're not doing X or Y like you used to. Yeah, no, I'm not going to anymore.
And you know what? Kind of going back to the first one too, but, you know, also this one, I remember I posted one time because politics was just making me sad. It was making me frustrated. People aren't seeing the space in between black and white and how complicated world politics are. I know that's my background. And so I posted on Facebook, I was like, I'm done with politics.
Yep.
I'm not going to read the news anymore. I made that decision that day. I'm not going to post anymore. I'm not going to share any of that. And every now and then I break that rule a little bit. I'm not perfect. But I remember one person actually decided to unfriend me because I said I wasn't going to post politics anymore. But politics wasn't serving me. Politics is not serving my business owners. Right. Politics owners is not helping my marriage. It's not helping my kids. It's not serving absolutely anything I care about.
Right.
You know, if I'm going to go educate myself before I go vote. I'm not going to not do that because, heck, my healthcare is through the roof. I'm not happy with healthcare. I'm going to work with that, but I'm going to realize that that's not my wheelhouse.
Right.
I'm not going to ever be the one marching. I'm not going to be the lobbyist. I'm not in healthcare. I'm not the right person to do this stuff. It's not my why.
Right.
I'll work around it. You know what I'd rather do? Make enough money so I don't fucking care how much healthcare costs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe that's the wrong attitude to go towards it, but it's not my why.
Well, no, I mean, it's not that is the point though, is if everybody would just focus on what really drives them, what they're passionate about, that they want to, whatever that is for them. Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with one of the other speakers from the Think and Grow Rich World Tour was in town. So we had lunch the other day and we were talking about the tour coming up and a variety of different things. But we actually, it was interesting because we got off on talking about religion and spirituality. And he goes, it's interesting that you talk about this. And I said, well, why wouldn't I talk about it? It's part of who I am and whatever. And he says, but it doesn't seem like you get upset about anybody else. And I said, well, that's not my job. My job is to be a living example of my beliefs and believe those things and live those things. Exactly. At no place on my business card does it say judge and jury. It's my encouragement. And so when I talked to a aerospace company last week, and I started with my beliefs in God, people were looking at me like, I can't believe you brought this into this company. And I said, I'm not judging. I said, here's the point of what I'm saying. I think we all should believe in a higher source, whichever higher source you choose in. Your task is to believe in that higher source and to live the beliefs of that higher source. That's my job. It is not my job to judge which one or what you're doing. Here's the only thing that I truly believe is you ain't it. There is something more than you. Now, whatever you choose to call it, that's up to you, right? And people were like, that was like the most refreshing way I've ever heard this put. And I said, well, it's not, I'm not the judge and jury. I'm one player in the entire thing. So, anyway, I mean, I think that's where you have to be. You have to know why you're out there doing what you're doing. Not my job to command anybody to do anything else. It's my job to invite people to partake if they're interested.
Exactly. So finding your why, he said you should be able to ask the word why to each answer about 7 times. And by 7, you should fill it from your head to your heart. And the way I always put it is like you're not crying. You're not on the verge of a puddly mess. You're not doing it right. Keep going further. Somebody asked, one of those of our members was asking that when, David Roberts did his talk, was it 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. How do you stay motivated to go towards your vision? This is how you stay motivated. Hi, Jeremy. Right. You stay motivated by having a why that makes you cry. It has to be so strong that the thought of it will put you in tears if you can't accomplish that. Number 6, and let's see if I can still type. I still can't type, so either Jeremy, Sean, or one of the other viewers type. The power of your thoughts is number 6. Your thoughts lie to you. They're a liar. I can't even think of how many times in marriages, probably on a daily basis in every household across all of the entire globe, your wife glances at you and all of a sudden you make all these assumptions about what she's thinking. Like my husband has literally thought, he told me this, like I walked in with all the groceries and I could just see your eyes go straight to the McDonald's cup. And I knew I was in trouble and I knew you were angry that I bought Jonathan McDonald's and I didn't bring any for Bella and Caitlin. And I was like, that's not what I was thinking at all. I was like, my eye did go straight to the McDonald's cup. And then it went straight to panic. John, please, 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 please do not rub your McDonald's cup in your little sister's face. Don't make it a big deal. No tantrums right at dinner.
No, it's funny that you said that because this morning, I recognized that we were out of coffee creamer. And so I went to the club, got my workout in, did the stuff, and ran by the store and bought some coffee creamer. And so when I walked in this morning, Peggy goes, "Did you get my message?" "No." "Did you get my text?" "No." I knew what it was about, right? But I did it purposely. And she goes, "Well, I was trying to catch you." I know. And I just went, "You mean for this?" She goes, "Oh." So, you're right. I was playing offense. So it was.
But think about that. We think of it like, so think about it.
But it's so true. The power.
Go back to business. You're not closing a sale and you're thinking, man, it's me. My product's wrong. I did a bad job. I didn't pitch it right. And I think you mentioned this the last time we were on that, sometimes people really want what you're selling and they just don't have the money.
Yeah.
It literally had nothing to do with you and you're putting all of that weight on you, all that responsibility on you. And the end game was just that they just filed for bankruptcy and they literally have no money.
Well, it goes back to the concept of high intention, low attachment. Have a high intention of imparting something good in every conversation or every relationship or every interaction, and a low attachment as to what that is or what that produces.
Exactly.
And so many people are so hung on the attachment of, and Sean would put it as the addiction to approval. Mm-hmm. That we're so addicted to somebody liking us or doing this or doing that, and it's funny because that seems to be a recurring theme in my world as we nurture some of these business relationships and some of these different things. And it's just it's kind of like, I teach the concept over and over again, and I'm realizing that part of there are times where I get far too attached. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't serve you.
Nope,
high intention, low attachment.
One of the very powerful things he said here, and I think that thoughts lie to you was a big one too, because I know women are terrible at that. The only thing standing between you and your income is the story you tell yourself. We are constantly telling ourselves all the worst things. So one of again, it's easy to say these things. It's not easy to fix them. And he was using, I thought, and this was brilliant too, he was using speakers as an example. What happens when you're on stage? You don't even use the same voice you use in normal life. You get on stage and you are a completely different person. You have different inflection, you have different power, you have different movements. Your body moves a different way completely. I'm doing the same thing here on the podcast, like the way I would talk to you if you and I were just sitting across in my office, completely different. Divide yourself into two people, and every time that less confident, that lower self-esteem version brings up that negative thought, switch to that other person that you would be the speaker to, that when you're in front of people, when you're trying to passionately tell your story, have that person check the other person.
Well, it's interesting you say that. That's actually what I just did with high intention, low attachment, because I just realized the situation that I looked at this morning, I'm attached to. And so I just did that. I went and trained myself and went, yeah, nice job, dumbass. You know?
I mean, you're never going to get this. This is the thing. Like, this is not New Year's resolutions where you start on January, you're going, and, on January 28th, you just don't get out of bed. So you're like, oh man, I failed. And you just don't go back to the gym, right? Let me tell you, the gym, so peaceful. It's like a private gym downstairs because ain't nobody in it.
Because it's there.
And it is empty. So question those thoughts and have your successful voice, your commanding speaker voice. Develop one if you don't have one. Get on stage, even the smallest stage. Do a podcast. Even if you're not a business owner, go do Facebook Live until you can create this more powerful voice to call bullshit on the asshole who keeps telling you bad things. You're like hidden behind Sean. This is addiction to approval, critical voice. The programming we have when we are all in our own environment. Bruce Limpton called it
epigenetics.
Epigenetics. We turn ourselves on and off in different places. That's interesting.
Well, that's what what you're describing there is what Sean teaches all the time. And it's so true. And, we say it in different ways, but once you recognize it and just say, that's the other side, whether you're a speaker or a trainer or whatever, a janitor, it is irrelevant. We all have our own stuff and issues and fall into things from time to time. That's why coaches have coaches. I was thinking
about this is these 7 right here are the reason you get a coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's to slap you upside the back of the head when you're doing these things.
Yep.
So number 7.
Okay.
The most impactful advice is bad advice.
The most impactful
advice is bad advice. I think about this even in my own marriage, with our friends. Somebody could tell you something nice, right? But you don't believe it. You believe all the bad stuff. It could be 1 for 1. One person tells you you suck and the other person says you're great. And the thing eating at your brain is the guy who said you suck. Even if he's the crackhead homeless in a box on the side of the street, and this other person knows you and has known you your whole life, the one that's going to impact you the most is the one that's bad.
Right.
And every single day, people are giving you bad advice. They're telling you to play small. And it's cumulative. Like, you think you brush it off and you're like, doesn't bother me. I got you. You move on. You're like, I'm having a happy day. But it adds up and it gets under your skin and it weaves its way into your thoughts. And somebody can say, yeah, you're great. You're awesome. I'm so glad, you came in, you taught me those things, Scott, like you rock. Never heard that kind of sales advice before. But that other stuff weaves its way into your brain and just changes your mindset in a way that it's hard to undo. And I think that kind of goes back to number 1, protect your confidence, your state of being at all cost. At all cost.
What's more contagious than enthusiasm? The lack of enthusiasm. That, it's a great point. You fight and fight and fight and fight to do certain stuff, and people they're viewing it from an outside source. They're not in the middle of it all.
No.
And all of a sudden, I don't think anybody purposefully, I can't say that anybody, but I don't think that the vast majority of people, well, I was going to qualify that. The vast majority of people are working to improve situations as opposed to create worse situations or anything like that. but it's really the value of mastermind. That's what we were talking about. I was talking about with this other speaker.
Why would you want to put yourself out there? Why would you do a Facebook Live? What if nobody watches?
What if somebody does?
They think they're being helpful.
Yeah. Well, that's the other side of that is what if somebody does, right? What if nobody watches? What's the converse? What if somebody does?
But that's just it. Like, that's to cut those people out. Shield yourself from that shit. Keep that away. You have to protect that.
I don't know that you can necessarily always shield it, but you can become more discerning.
You can.
And create. I mean, there's a pretty good book that says seek wise counsel.
So that was the next thing I was going to go into. The other half of this part was don't learn from people screwing it up. You don't get relationship advice from the single person, the divorced person. Don't take business advice from the broke person. How much of the self-help development people, like, they want to come be your coach and they've never accomplished it. Like, we've talked about that. How is a 22-year-old kid going to be your personal coach?
Right. Unless they're teaching you millennial. Unless they're teaching you, I mean, well, but the point is, the point is if there is an area of expertise there that they have that they can teach, that's possible. I don't want to discount all of them, but at the same time, to have an unmarried 22-year-old give me marriage advice or what should happen, probably not,
Probably not, right?
But that's Sean what said, don't take advice from someone more screwed up than you.
I missed all the comments here. It stopped moving. I guess there's so many comments it stopped scrolling down. Sorry about that, Sean. But yeah, stop taking all that advice from the wrong people. And then the flip side of that is go start surrounding yourself with successful, motivating, inspiring people. And this is why Facebook groups are the new Facebook thing.
Right.
Because they have learned that the people around other people don't necessarily motivate you. That's not the people that we need to be around that inspire us. It's where we can go to a group with people like us. Right. I can go to Digital Marketer Engage group with 12,000 other marketers who get me, who speak my language, that when I ask them advice, they're even honest. Somebody will give advice. You're like, man, I don't really know this stuff that well, but I know from like being on the other side, this is how I feel about it, sitting on the other side of the webinar. Some guy who's made $10 million on webinars chiming in, he's like, man, just breeze through that, just do this, blah, blah, blah. Get advice from people playing on the highest level. Surround yourself with the best that you can at any given time. Constantly be on the search to be around someone next step better, next step better, next step better. That is why masterminds and groups like Business Growth Network, that is why we created Business Growth Network, is bringing around the people we actually want to be around that are going to support and act like a mob syndicate to raise all of us at the same time.
Well, that was the conversation I had with this speaker, because we were going on the Think and Grow Rich World Tour, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and the concept, and he had never heard it said this way. He's read the book, he uses it, he talks about it all the time, but we're talking about the power of the mastermind. And I said, so in a presentation that I did for years and did many, many, many times, part of that was straight out of Napoleon Hill and the discussion of the mastermind. And that is, Napoleon Hill's definition as a mastermind is when two or more minds come together, a third and greater mastermind is created. We're all a product of our experiences. You've had experiences. I've had experiences. When you and I come together to look at that exact same issue, we're going to come at it from different places because of our frame of reference, our experience base. And Mark Victor Hansen used to say, a mastermind is when 1 and 1 come together to make 11, right? So the point is that's the value of the mastermind, and coming together to really have two or more minds come together to look at the exact same situation. And Sean and I were having this conversation just the other day, and I think this is what's happened is people are now starting, the buzz is the word mastermind, and so they think a mastermind is a gathering of people. A mastermind is not simply a gathering of people. It is a gathering of people that explore the same topic from different directions for the value of the individual and the group. And so they're really losing. I mean, a lot of these are being called masterminds when in fact they're being spoken at, right? Mm-hmm. They're being pontificated to. They're not, it's not, it's like this guru-based thing. A mastermind is truly having somebody state an issue and then gain wisdom from the collective. Yes. And so, I mean, it's starting to be cliched, unfortunately, which is one of the reasons that we're doing the TGR, Think and Grow Rich World Tour, is to get those concepts back out into place, that the value of coming together is a totally different process. It's not what I mean, community is a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. No,
community is great, and
but doing it for the right reason and the right way, exactly, as a collective, is powerful.
No, it really is. And that was kind of the end of my notes there. It's like right on time. It's 9:58.
Good notes. I like it.
He referenced in this is how you scale your business to 100 million, but he also preferenced it's also how you scale your business past that to $1 billion. It's how you scale your business at every level, even to the first $10, the first 100,000, first million. This foundation, your foundation cannot be broken sand that falls apart. It's got to be a rock solid mindset.
Exactly. I mean, you've got to have the you've got to see that vision, and you've got to then work towards it. You're going to be off course far more than you're ever on course as you're going towards it. It's just the way it is. It's not about being off course. It's about being off course less often, less far. Or so it's more that kind of process than anything else. So good notes.
What are you going to talk about tomorrow?
I don't know. What do we need to talk about? I'm new at this.
We'll talk about that offline, and we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that are coming up these days, and they seem to be repeating themselves. So that might be a fairly good indication. Sometimes people would call that a clue. Just a thought. So
it is, and I to force myself to be more extroverted while I was there and meet more people, or connect a little deeper with people, I went and got 60-second video clips with people who are fantastic at their business, who are building big business, who are helping other people build big businesses. And I asked them their number 1 tip in business. And it's the same stuff over and over again. It's the stuff that we've just talked about today. It's the same stuff that in marketing I reiterate all the time about knowing your avatar, knowing your why, having a full system in place so you can be outside your business. It is literally the same stuff over and over and over again. It is the basics of the simplicity that will get you there.
Yep. It's understanding the process and executing the process.
That's true. So I'll sign off with that. If you, we'll get back to building funnels next week. We've got sales tomorrow. If you want us to build your funnel for free, doublefunnel.tv, and go get signed up and go get the stuff that you need to go. Says I'm not buying your landing page software. I'm not buying your email software. And members in Business Growth Network are always going to have priorities. So $17 is a no-brainer to join that kind of mastermind.
Yep.
Go get it done. And the next one can be you. All right,
Sounds like a plan. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks a lot.